Hey guys, today we're going to do an overview of how Manager works. There's two things I want to highlight before we start. So when you create a new business, it's very difficult to find a decent accounting system that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, that's double entry and just works and it's full featured. So Manager is full featured, everything's basically there. When you find a normal system online, is very difficult to find because what they basically have is they only have chart accounts, journal entries, profit and loss statement, and balance sheet. Manager works great. Basically everything you need for your business is built into Manager. Okay, so our second thing is that based on the business requirements, you can easily add and remove tabs, reports, and modules within Manager for your business requirements. So there's a lot of features in there, pay slips, a lot of things that some businesses might not use, and the issue is that most first-time users enables all the tabs within Manager. You don't need to do that. You can enable the basic modules and tabs that you need, and then as your business evolves, you add and remove tabs within the business. So under settings, you can customize Manager exactly the way you want it, so it looks and feels like the software is designed for you. So under settings, there's a lot of stuff you can change. You can do specific stuff for your business, the way you want your sales quotes, invoices, and everything to look. There's templates, there's business logos, everything's in there. So the look and feel is exactly the way that you want it to be. So our agenda is going to be, we're going to create a business, do bank accounts, cash accounts, business logos. So the basic stuff to get the look and feel of your business ready. After that, we're going to quickly do a rundown through all the settings and the menus and the modules, and do a rundown through the reports. Okay, let's get started. So to add a new business, you'll go to add business. You can create a new business, or if you've got a backup of your previous business, you can import your business. If you click there, you'll see that you can now create a business name and click add business. I'm not going to do that. I've already got a business created, and we're going to work on this business. Right, so from the start, you can see I've enabled all the modules, so we can do a brief explanation. At the moment, we're on the summary page. This is the page you'll always be on when you open Manager, and it will give you your cash at bank, cash on hand, income, your expenses, basically everything profit and loss will be on this first page that you can look at. So you can have a brief summary exactly what the state of your business is, who owes you money and who you owe money. Okay, so to run your business, you need bank accounts, and you need to set up your business so it looks like your logo and details and everything is on the business. So first thing you'll do is you'll go to bank accounts. You can create your bank accounts here, and this is the account that you'll trade with. You can create a cash account, which will be your petty cash or till or anything like that. So then you'll see the basic stuff that any business will have. We'll have customers, sales quotes, sales orders, sales invoices. Then we can have credit notes. We'll have purchase order, purchase invoice maybe, and then employees, not everybody will do pay slips, maybe inventory, and then these last few settings on basic on every creation of a new business. So we're going to look at settings quickly. So our settings gives us all the functionality and the feel of what you want your business to look like. So first thing you can do is you can go to customize, and here you can enable all the modules that you want to enable. Okay, so I've enabled all the modules. We're going to look at automatic credit allocation. So what will happen here, if you've got a customer that overpays on an invoice, if you enable this module, it will automatically take that overpayment and assign it to the customer credit account, which means that it will say that the customer's got credit, that you owe money to the customer. We can now choose our base currency. So our base currency is whatever currency you do business in. So if you're in Europe, it will be euros. If you're in America, it will be dollars. South Africa, we use rands. Then we've got our business details. So our business details will be your trading name, any details that you've got, and then you've got a business identifier, which will be your business registration number and any VAT number stuff that needs to be on your invoices. Okay, next is our business logo. So our business logo is any JPEG or PNG file that you want to import. You can click browse, point it to the file that you've got as a business logo on your local computer, and you can upload that onto the system. So we can click browse, Then we can point it to our logo. And click update. There you can see that it imported our business logo. Right. So here we've got capital accounts. Capital accounts is for anyone that's invested in your company, so you can open an account for each person that actually puts money into the business. Right. So then we've got chart of accounts. Chart of accounts is all your accounts: assets, incomes, expenses, liabilities, and equity. Here you can actually go and you can add or remove accounts that's already been set up. Most of the account that's on here is what you'll basically use. If there's anything specific to your business, you can go on here and you can create a new one. Okay, then we've got classified balance sheet. Here you can see all the groups and liability groups and everything that you can also add and remove all the groups and subgroups that's under here as you need for your business. Okay, then we've got our currency prefix. If you have a currency prefix that you want to display in front of any amount on an invoice, you can physically put it here. If you want to put a dollar, it will then put a dollar. If you have a prefix behind the number, you can change it here. Okay, so here we've got custom fields. Custom fields is a very nice feature. We can go to any one of our modules that we've got in our system, and we can physically go and select one of those modules and then have a specific line that you want to add onto there. You can then have, say you've got an invoice, you normally have your amounts and anything. At the bottom you can then add a line for anything that you want to put in there. Maybe have the customer's name extra in there, or the person that collected the stock, or anything like that. You can then add a line or a field within the invoice. Okay, here we've got email settings. Email settings is the reply to email address that you want to be if you send an invoice or any one of the documents from the system to the customer. You can then fill it in here, and you can also use custom SMTP server. If you've got your own domain that you want to send emails from, you can then put the settings in here. Okay, so next are email templates. Our email templates is what you want the customer to see in the body of the email and the subject of the email when you send it to the customer. You can here go and edit. You can put the body and the subject the way you want it to be, and it will always be default when you send a document. Here's our exchange rate. Here you can put an exchange rate. If you add a new exchange rate, it will only give you the date. It won't give you this. The only reason why the exchange rate is here from South African rands to US dollars is because I created a supplier that I said that I will exchange with this client in US dollars, and then I can specify the exchange rate afterwards. You've got expense claim payers. Expense claim payers is the person that is allowed to do an expense claim, and that you need this module for expense claims to be active. Lock date. Lock date is a date that you can put in that no one can change any financial data or any financial transactions before or on that date. So the date you put in here will physically lock your financial year. Nothing can be changed before or on that date. Next is a multi-step income statement. Again, multi-step income statement, it's a bit self-explanatory. You can then go and add groups and remove groups as your business needs them. Okay, opening balance. Opening balance you can enable if you already had a business and on another financial system, or you already did business from an Excel spreadsheet and you now need to put your bank account and everything onto Manager. What will happen is you'll enable opening balance. You'll put in a date for the opening balance, and from that date you can put an opening balance in your bank statement, whatever the opening balance for that date. It will ignore any financial transactions before that date, and you can then specify from that date onwards. You can then allocate transactions in your bank account onto Manager. Next up, payment cutaway. If you make payment cutaway visible, it will actually add this slip at the bottom of each invoice that you send out. Okay. Next is our payslip items. So our payslip items is also a bit self-explanatory. You have to put in earnings, deductions, and employer contributions. You can create all your subtitles here, and that will be on the payslip, and you can select them from a drop-down as you create the payslips. So next is our purchase invoice item. Purchase invoice items is an item that you would buy from a supplier, but it won't be something that's physically in stock. It will be something that you buy from a supplier as a service that you're going to resell or anything like that, that you want to put in there that's not going into inventory. So you'll create the item here, so you can select this item when you create the purchase order, when you create the purchase invoice, that you already have this item on the drop down, and you can select it with a unit price, and you can then complete your document from there. Okay, so our purchase order template again is what you want your purchase order to look like. The hash in there will just start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 onwards. You can then specify the prefix that you want for your purchase order template. Next thing is our recurring sales invoice. Our recurring sales invoice is very nice. You can actually set an invoice to what date and how many months it must invoice, or weeks. If you want, in the system automatically generate that for you, and you can then create it. You can also go directly into your sales invoice, take an existing invoice, and then copy it to a new recurring sales invoice. And then it automatically generate for that specific date that you've set. You'll see on the top of your invoices, you can then generate all those invoices that you have specified to be recurring. Sales invoice items, again, we can do the same. Create our sales invoice items here. It's not a physical item that you have in stock. Then we've got our sales invoice template, whatever you want the title to be, and again your prefix number and any terms of payment that you want to be on the invoice. Next will be our sales quote template. Same thing, what you wanted to say as a heading and how you want the numbers to start. Next we've got tax codes. Tax code, that is when you're VAT registered or you charge a GST or anything like that. You can specify or create the new tax codes here. You can create a custom tax code if it's not already on this existing list. Okay, next thing we've got tracking codes. So tracking codes. This is a feature that a lot of people actually use. Tracking codes, you can track anything. You've got a project and you can create a tracking code for that specific project. Any income, expenses, anything is set to that tracker, and you can pull a profit and loss report on that tracking code and then know exactly what the costing was on that project. Same thing you can also do is if you've got several salespeople, you can set a tracking code to each one of them for every sale they do, so you can track the sales that each person does. So all you need to do is create a new tracking code, set a tracking code name. I'm just going to put test, and if we do sales invoice, we can now set the tracking code on the invoice. Okay. This is not applicable on desktop version. Then we've got a window-faced envelope. That is just how to print on a Windows-faced envelope. Right. Okay, we're going to quickly do a run through all the modules. You can click Customize. Customize will give you the ability to select which modules you want active. Okay, so first thing we will do is we're just going to run from the top. We've got our summary page that I've already explained. We've got our bank accounts, cash accounts. Then we've got expense claims. As you can see, I've already done some expense claims. We've got customers. You can add a new customer, add all the following details of the customer, and you can also see how many invoices is done towards each customer and if there's anything owed on a customer. Then we've got self-explanatory if you want to send a quote. We've got sales orders. We've got sales invoices. Also, you can see due dates, if there's no date set, overdue date, and whether customer has already paid or an invoice is already paid. Then we've got credit notes if you want to give credit to a customer. We've got delivery notes. This is for people that actually, if you do an invoice and you want to deliver that goods to a customer, you can create that invoice, that delivery note, And if that delivery note is created, you can actually set the description in here and the customer can actually sign for it. Next, we've got suppliers. So if you've got a supplier, you can put all your suppliers in here. We've got purchase orders if you want to do a purchase order to a supplier. And we've got purchase invoices. Here we've got debit notes if you get a credit. Here we can set our employees. And here we can create our pay slips. Next is our inventory items. Here you can create the inventory item, set the purchase price, the selling price and description for that item. As you can see here, it also gives you the quantities in stock and the value of that quantities in stock. Here we can actually write off if we need to write off any inventory that you have in stock and the reason why, and you can allocate it. Here we've got manufacturing orders. So manufacturing orders, you can actually take existing inventory that you have in stock and actually use that to manufacture a stock item that you can put back into inventory. Here we've got billable time. So on the billable time, you can actually set the staff member category, who the customer is that you're billing this to, set an hourly rate description, and then set your hours. If you create that, you can actually take it directly to an invoice. Here we've got fixed assets. If you have any fixed assets like laptops, desks, anything like that's got a value to the business. And here we've got journal entries. Here you can add any journal entry. As you can see, double entry. Anything that you need to manually put onto the system, you can do it via journal entries. Here you've got email. So the system will keep track of any email that you send to a customer, whether it's a quote, invoice, anything like that. The system can keep track of that. Here we've got reports. So these are all the reports that is available to us that we'll run through now. And then basically last, we've got our settings tab again. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at our reports. So these are the list of our reports. We can go customize and we can select all the reports that we want active. Here we can have a fixed asset summary, expenses. Let's just enable all the reports while we're here. And we can go update. So if you want to run a report, I want to do a general ledger summary. So a new report. I want to run a report from the 1st of October up until today. I'm going to call it test. And I can go view. And here it gives me a summary of all my cash on hand, cash at bank, and all the inventory on hand, everything basically of my business for that time period. If you want to physically go to that transaction and see what's happening, you can go within the report, you can click on that, and it will give you the transactions for that amount. Okay. And you can do the same with all the other reports. Here you've got profit and loss statement. So the tracking code, we can actually do a profit and loss statement on that tracking code. Here we can select the tracking code for profit and loss. Okay. Okay, so you can do the same with all the others. You've got general ledger summaries, all our tax code reports, all our fixed asset reports, capital accounts reports, billable time reports, payslip reports, and everything's here for you to use. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Leave your comments below and also please subscribe.